Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be posting this on YouTube. I was going to post this on Spotify. I may actually post it on both. Who knows? But I want to read from this book I got recently from another coach. Her Instagram is The God State, and it's called The World is a Mirror. I don't want to butcher her name, but I think it's pronounced Nada Amari. My apologies if I said that wrong. So today's video is all about being brutally honest with ourselves, right? This is a tough love video. So if you're in your ego right now, and signs you're in your ego, you're getting frustrated, you don't believe the law anymore, you feel like it's not working for you, just your emotions are high, your emotions are similar to a child in a grocery store not getting their way. Okay, that's pretty much ego. And I'm not being rude when I say that, I'm just being honest. So we're going to talk about that. Also, I'm going live today, if this is up in time, with Chrisanne on the subscription part of Instagram. If you want to subscribe to that, there's going to be different things we're going to be offering over there. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And we will go from there if you join us on there and enjoy a live interaction. I'm not really sure exactly what else we'll add to it, but we're definitely going to be adding to it the more it grows. With that being said, if you'd like coaching, under story highlights labeled coaching, no, I do not offer DM coaching or email coaching. I just offer what I offer there. Please look at the prices before you send us a message. Okay, so from this book, we're going to talk a little bit about suffering right quick. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So it says the only purpose of suffering is to bring your attention to a specific thing you need to learn. So, it says a negative feeling is your higher self nudging you to let go of the thought, expectation, assumption, or belief that made you feel that way. It's like an alarm that you cannot snooze. The heaviness on your chest is your higher self's way of saying that the thoughts you are currently having are senseless. They will cause you suffering, asking you to let go of them before they materialize and make you learn your lesson the hard way by having to deal with the circumstance. Okay, so I absolutely love that, first and foremost, because a lot of times we can feel that energy of like, this doesn't feel right? Even if you're not fully aware of the law of assumption, there's an understanding that this doesn't feel good. Your body's reacting to it. And so it's like, the best thing to do in that moment is to process those emotions. And then I don't like using the word flip because I think people think that means ignore their emotions. But what I mean by flipping is once you deal with the emotions, change your assumption of it. That's what I mean. So again, when you feel like something doesn't feel right to you, whether it's you spying on your SP, whether it's you interacting with them and trying to manipulate the 3D, don't get me wrong, you can interact with your SP, but if you're coming from a place of trying to manipulate and get something, you're doing it all wrong, right? So we're basically unlearning what society places on us. And this is where I see a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I get the law. I understand it. Yep, got it. And then they go out and interact and they're like, this is bullshit. This isn't working. I don't like this. It's not working. What am I doing wrong? Why is this happening? And it's just a constant loop, right? In reality, it's really simple. You are thinking something you don't like, you change that assumption, and you stop paying attention to your reality. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to deal with your reality, but you have got to find a way to not tie your emotions to it. Because, and get attached to it, really. I mean, it's truly just an attachment. When you attach yourself to your reality, you are depending on it. And therefore, you are no longer in the state of the wish fulfilled. You are actually in the old story. So your old story has a lot, and all of us have this issue. Our old story is attached to what society tells us, right? So, for example, society tells us if somebody's not doing something right, then they don't give a shit about us. Okay, they don't care, they don't want us, and all that. That's the worst assumption to have when you're manifesting. In our new story, we all need to take on the energy of just because this isn't happening right now doesn't mean it's not happening, right? And you need to open your eyes to a world that's not just black and white. Society thinks in that way. It's like it's either this or that. It can't be in between. But there can be that gray matter that for sure things can be in between. So I think that's important to remind yourself. There was something else I was going to read in here. Let's see. So this kind of goes with the suffering part. Everything is equally valid. You being in a situation you don't prefer is equally valid as you living your dream life. No difference. There's no such thing as a reality harder to manifest than another reality. All realities are equal. It says that the only reason why it's seemingly easier to manifest a cup of coffee than it is to manifest a brand new car is that you have no resistance when it comes to this manifesting something that you have already seen happen multiple times and is already in the range of your expectations. So I love that chapter, and that is chapter 7. And it talks about, with that being said, I'm just going to kind of summarize that. It talks a little bit more, it's a little bit shorter of a chapter, but it basically talks about obviously, like I just read, the expectations we place on ourselves. Or again, we're going off what society tells us, okay? So in our mind, it's like, okay, it's easy to get a free cup of coffee. That's easy. That's an unexpected thing. But oh my God, it's so hard to manifest a person. They are literally equal. They are the same. Just as you manifesting $1 million. It is all the same. And once you realize this, and the only reason it seems difficult is what society has placed on you in your old story. Drop that story and tell yourself, I know it feels a little delusional at first, but eventually you realize it's not. Manifest something a little bit, quote unquote, bigger, right? If you really want your mind to, go there, manifest something a little bit bigger. So you're like, okay, a cup of coffee, great. Maybe manifest somebody you haven't heard from in a long time to contact you, right? Do that. I say bigger for a reason, because I want you guys to have more faith when that shows up. So I know for me, if that happened and I was newer to manifesting, I'd be like, wow, this is kind of interesting. Maybe there isn't a limitation of something, right? So let me read this also to you guys, because I feel like this needs to be addressed as well. Don't ever feel guilty for desiring a certain thing. Sometimes the desire in itself might not be the end goal, but the lessons you learn on that journey are what's necessary for you to grow and evolve, which will play a major role in the fulfillment of another, bigger, more purposeful desire. So, with that being said, it says trust yourself, trust your intuition. You are a flawless, divine being. You are a version of God. You cannot make mistakes, even if some of your old decisions seem to be unnecessary. Trust and believe that everything is a piece of a bigger puzzle. So I love this. If you guys already know, I'm like the bridge queen, am I not? I love saying everything's a freaking bridge. So when you look back and, like, let's say you're manifesting an SP1 and, like, you're manifesting, and then maybe you realize, or maybe you meet another SP and you hit it off and you're cool, everything's great, and then you realize, like, I don't think I want SP1 anymore. And it's coming from, not from being in the wishful field, but genuinely not wanting them anymore. And you feel like maybe you wasted your time, or you feel guilty. Don't stay in that energy. It's a part of it was a desire for a reason. And we're all connected. So, your desire being there is like also maybe some type of lesson for that person too, right? I don't want to get all law of attraction-y with saying lessons, because I know sometimes people take that the wrong way. But, you have a desire for a reason. First off, don't beat yourself up over that desire. And also, go piggybacking off of this comment about, like, you cannot make mistakes even if some of your old decisions seem to be unnecessary. Okay, so let's say you are heavily creeping on your SP and you're just like, and then you snap out of that, you're in the wish fulfilled for a few months, you're feeling good, and you're mad at yourself. You're like, why did I do that? Don't beat yourself up. And just like it said earlier about suffering, let me see if I can find it. The only purpose of suffering is to bring your attention to a specific thing you need to learn, okay? So with that being said, you learned something. You realize, okay, I'm doing something that's not helping me, right? And we all have our moments. We all have our breaking points too, right? I can talk to someone all day on the phone, do coaching with them until I'm blue in the face, and they still may not listen to what I'm saying because they're not ready right then. And that's okay, right? That's part of life. But if you want to get real with yourself, okay? If you really want this desire wholeheartedly, like you really want it, you need to be aware of what you're feeling about that situation. You cannot just say when you're driving somewhere and you're like, oh, let me enter the wish fulfilled real quick and visualize or feel that feeling of having this person or this unraveling, and then go about your whole day spying. You cannot be in two states at once. You were either in the wish fulfilled or you were either not in the wish fulfilled, and you are in the state of lack. Okay? I know because of what society places on us, it's easier for us to fall victim to that because our friends think it, everyone around us, we see it all on social media. So what can you do to try to eliminate being attached to that? Say you're out with friends and they start talking mad shit about your SP, or they start having a lack mentality about money, or they're negative. You need to kind of detach from that, right? So indifferent. Someone asked, how do you feel indifferent towards something? Well, indifference is you're not emotional about it, and you're not sad, you're not happy, you're not any of that. And when I say you're not happy, I don't mean you're unhappy. You're just chilling. You don't give a shit, right? It does not faze you anymore. Just like when, for example, let's say you are in a relationship when you were younger before you understood the law, or no, let's not even do that. Let's just say you had an old best friend that really irritated you and did you wrong, and then eventually you just stopped caring, right? And you moved along in your life, right? That's indifference. Or you had an annoying sibling and you found a way to just not really allow them to get the best of you. That is indifference, right? You are feeling indifferent towards a situation. So you want to find that indifference when you're interacting with your reality. But I will say it's you versus you. I can't tell you this enough. And I know I sound like I'm yelling, and I apologize. I'm very passionate about this topic because I see so many people come to me and they are wanting to manifest their person. They're on the right track, and then they just let the 3D just suck them back in. Okay? Like, you have got to not, first off, don't look for the evidence. The evidence is within. If you feel a desire of something, it's already meant to be yours, okay? That is how it works. Your God self delivers a desire for you to have for a reason, whether it's something that stays forever or something that's just a freaking lesson, bringing you one step closer to that next desire. And you may say, well, I don't want it to be a lesson, and you might be fearful of that. But listen, when you are at the end of that rope, you're not going to be fearful of it. If it's something you've outgrown, you'll genuinely feel pretty good about outgrowing that, right? So that is how that works. So with that being said, I know like a lot of times it's easier for ourselves to kind of fall into the old patterns. I get it. It happens. But the moment you catch yourself doing this is when you have a moment of an opportunity to change that storyline. I don't care if you're out with friends and they're just talking mad shit. What are you doing in that moment to change that thought? What are you doing? Tell yourself, I don't give a shit what people are saying. I don't align with this. I don't align with this. This isn't, find a way to not attach yourself so much to it. And I know sometimes we micromanage to the point of trying to change other people. We don't need to change, like, what I mean by that is in the moment in your 3D trying to manipulate, like trying to make them see your point of view. Don't do that either. You leave the 3D alone and you change everything from within. You cannot change things by trying to force it. You have to do that naturally by going within. Creation is in your imagination. That's how it's created. Everything out there is a reflection of our thoughts. If you don't like something, change the way you see it. I know it's easier to sit here and say, okay, I know about manifesting, I'm thinking this. But the second something goes wrong in your reality, you lose your shit. You have got to find a way to say, okay, I don't like that this is happening right now. I don't. In fact, I hate it. But I'm going to change my assumption right now because I know what I want and I deserve. This is my God-given birthright to have what the fuck I want. Excuse my language. What am I going to do to change this? It's really that simple. And I know sometimes your ego will come in waves, and it'll be like sometimes it's easy to snap out of it, and other times it takes a whole day. But the worst thing you can do is go and gripe about it to other people, right? Take yourself out of the equation of being in that moment and remind yourself, what's the bigger picture here? Do I want to keep this story repeating? Do I really want this situation unravel like this? Being a true operant in power is being unfazed by the bullshit out there, right? I get it, guys. I see it all the time. I have my moments too. There's so many times where I'm watching a show or interacting with people, and I'm like, you have so much more potential than you're giving yourself, right? And also, there's times where I'm like, especially when people are like, I can't believe this happened, it was magical, and I'm like, no, you created it. You get what I'm saying? I get it, I do. But this is where you have to just say, you know what, I can't fix everything. I'm not Superman. I'm not going to fix everything or try to change everyone in the external. I'm just going to go within and change it internally. And whether that be that person starts to show up differently and learn about the law of assumption, or they just don't come to you about stuff like that anymore. It's really that simple. But again, I highly recommend this book. The World is a Mirror. I'm telling you guys, like, even though I understand manifesting to a T, I highly recommend this book. And also, go support another coach, because why not? But this is forever going to stay wherever I go. Like, I'm literally going to hold this and have this in my purse, because I'm not kidding when I say, and maybe you guys need to try that. Maybe buy this book and or Neville book or whatever, or even write down something. You don't have to get the damn book. You can write something down if you want that, like, makes you like come back to who you are, right? It's almost like pinching yourself. Put it in your purse, put it in your wallet, right? In that very moment when you're feeling some type of way, because your ego, it's going to pop in. And also, don't feel bad later on about that. And I know I said that earlier, but suffering is just us acknowledging something. So in that moment, pull it out of your wallet or your purse, read it to yourself, and make that be the reminder for yourself that, you know what? I need to snap out of this shit. It can be anything. You can write down whatever you want, or you can pull this book out and bookmark something, or you can bookmark something in Neville's teachings or Joseph Murphy. It doesn't matter what you choose. Whatever will bring you back to where you need to be is what you need to do. I highly recommend doing that, because it allows you to kind of snap back into reality, because sometimes it's harder, right? And like in this moment of feeling good, it's harder to understand the ego because it's not present. But when it is present, it's very much loud and clear, okay? So just be mindful of that. And again, be kind to yourself. This is a learning lesson, and you are learning along the way. But again, if you've been going in a spiraling cycle of the same shit for a couple of months, you need to change something. There's something going on internally that you're not allowing yourself to detach. And a lot of times, guys, it's not that you can't accept that thought. It's just that there's too much interaction with the 3D. Okay? So let me say that again. It's not sometimes you not being able to accept the thought to be true. Sometimes we can have a thought like, oh, this person's going to be with me. I know it. And you feel good. And you stay in that wish fulfilled. But sometimes there's not enough boundaries placed with your 3D. Okay? You've got to find that indifference. And I know the 3D is like just spontaneous as hell all the time, right? It really is. I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get sometimes. You might have a friend say something that triggers you, or whatever the case is, but you kind of have to find that place of not letting that get to you, right? That is the best example that I can give, is that you have got to like shield yourself mentally, okay? So with that being said, I hope this helps, and you're going to get what you want. You're worthy of your desires. And also, I want to mention a little side note. I feel like this video is more so for people whose self-concept is pretty much regulated, right? Because even if our self-concept's regulated, we can still get triggered by the 3D. But I find it for other people who are struggling even more, it's because your self-concept's not regulated. So again, just because your self-concept's good doesn't mean you're not going to react to things. It's just easier to get back into the state of the wish fulfilled. It's easier to place awareness, right? But when our self-concept's low and we feel shitty about ourselves, we don't feel worthy, it's easier to stay in the state of lack, okay? So when you're changing your assumption of things and you're working simultaneously to remind yourself, I'm the creator of my reality, I can get whatever I want, I'm the operant in power, or I'm worthy of this. And mind you, you can literally do these at the same time, okay? Self-concept just is there to help us remind ourselves, like, that we're the creator and that everything that's happening is because of our own assumptions that we create, right? It's also just knowing you're worthy of something. And once you accept that, which can be an instant thing, just so you know, you can instantly change that thought by having a different assumption that just clicks. And, you know, that way you see things differently. So a lot of times I've seen a lot of clients who have a poor self-concept, and they're in this energy of, well, why are they choosing them over me, right? That's something you have to work through. But a lot of times I'll see people who have a good self-concept and they see something in their 3D and they're like, I'm just over this shit. Even though they know they're worthy of it, they still feel like shit about it, right? So again, your 3D is going to affect you at some point. It's how you deal with it that matters more than anything. You don't like it, change it. Change your assumption of something. You have that power. You are the creator. You get that option, right? How amazing is that? So again, I hope this helps, and I wish you nothing but the best. You are deserving of having all your desires. They are happening, but keep the awareness of what you're thinking, okay? It's very, very important to keep the awareness. When you think something one time doesn't mean it's going to manifest. But when you allow it to, you know, become a routine, just like when you're changing your assumption and you allow that to become a routine, it will manifest. So you need to get on it and change your assumption. All right. I hope this helped, guys. And this is a bit longer than I expected. I probably will upload this on Spotify as well. And I will talk to you guys again soon and see you on the live if you are joining today, Eastern Standard Time at 12 p.m. Bye, guys.